All right, let's dive into the world of 6G networks.
Yeah, 6G.
We're talking the absolute bleeding edge of connectivity here.
And this research paper we're looking at, it doesn't mess around. It uses this term, SAGSIN.
SAGSIN.
Yeah, it stands for Space, Air, Ground, Sea Integrated Network.
Okay, so everything is connected.
Everything, everywhere, all the time. That's the idea.
So what, like my smartwatch is going to be best friends with a satellite,
Yeah.
helping me find the best ramen shop.
Exactly. Think even bigger, though. Like, imagine a doctor in, say, London performing surgery
Okay.
on a patient, but the patient's not in London.
Oh, wow.
They're in, like, the Amazon rainforest, and it's all happening in real time.
Through this 6G network.
Seamlessly.
Yeah.
That's the promise of Sagsins.
Yeah.
No lag, no delays.
Sign me up. But, and maybe this is just me being difficult, but managing all that data, all those connections,
Yeah.
doesn't that sound kind of
Yeah.
nightmarishly complicated?
Yeah, that's the multi-billion-dollar question, and the paper dives into that
Okay.
big time. And it points to AI as a major part of the solution,
Okay.
specifically AI at the edge of the network.
So is this like living on the edge, but instead of skydiving, I'm just like streaming videos of cats in super high definition?
Not quite as intense, no. But basically, most data processing right now happens in these huge data centers.
Right, the cloud.
The cloud, exactly. Edge AI takes some of that processing power and moves it closer to where the data's coming from.
So instead of my self-driving car having to call up the cloud every time it needs to make a driving decision,
Right.
it can just think for itself right there on the road.
Precisely. Imagine a whole fleet of autonomous vehicles coordinating in milliseconds to prevent accidents.
Wow.
Or a search and rescue drone that's using Edge AI to analyze data in real time.
To like find survivors, stuff like that.
Exactly. That's incredible.
The paper highlights how edge computing is going to make stuff like that possible.
But even with Edge AI, isn't there a limit to how smart, like how powerful you can make one single device? I mean, my phone is great and all, but I don't think it's writing the next best-selling novel anytime soon.
And that's where it gets even cooler. This isn't about just individual devices going solo. It's about them working together, sharing resources, sharing information.
Like a team.
Like a well-coordinated team, exactly.
I love it already. And the AI, that's the key. This paper really breaks down how AI can make that collaboration crazy efficient. Breaking those huge, complex tasks into smaller chunks.
Right.
That get spread out, assigned, managed across the whole network. That's how you get past these individual device limitations.
I'm picturing like this global AI-powered team all working together, but how do you even start to organize something that complex?
Well, the researchers, they propose a new framework. They call it LHTM.
LHTM.
Yeah, and to understand it, think about an orchestra. You've got the conductor.
I can already tell I'm going to love this analogy.
Yeah.
So the conductor, is that like the AI mastermind, the one calling the shots?
In a way, yes. LHTN sets the overall plan, the big picture.
Right.
But each musician...
Each device.
Exactly. They bring their own skills, their own strengths to the performance. It's a flexible plan that allows for, improvisation based on what's happening in the moment.
So it's like having a brilliant strategy, but also letting everyone kind of riff off of each other. That's really cool.
It is, and to manage those high-level tasks, they even talk about using something similar to those large language models, like ChatGPT.
Wow.
But specifically designed for networks and these complex tasks.
So what's the magic ingredient? What makes this whole thing actually work?
On a device level, they use something called DRL-based planning.
DRL, what's that stand for?
Deep reinforcement learning. Think of it like this. The devices, they can learn.
Okay.
And adapt their actions based on the feedback they get.
So they get better at their jobs over time.
Exactly. Constantly learning, problem solving.
Okay, so we've got a global network, AI behind the scenes, devices that learn. This is starting to sound like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it can't all be smooth sailing, right? What are some of the challenges?
Oh, there are definitely challenges. One of the big ones is reliability and trustworthiness.
Right, because if we're talking about AI managing critical infrastructure, even medical devices.
Exactly.
A system crash isn't just an inconvenience, it's a disaster.
Absolutely. And even testing these systems, that's a whole other challenge.
Oh, I bet.
And that's actually where the paper brings up another fascinating concept. Digital twins.
Digital twins? Okay, now that sounds like something right out of a movie.
It does have a certain futuristic ring to it.
Yeah.
But it's a concept that's gaining traction. Basically, it's a virtual replica of a real-world system.
So like a flight simulator. But instead of pilots, we're training AI.
Precisely. Imagine creating a digital twin of a 6G network, with all its complexities.
Oh, wow.
And then letting these AI algorithms run wild.
In this virtual world.
Exactly. That way, if the AI messes up, there are no real-world consequences. It's a safe space to experiment, to learn.
It makes sense. You get to iron out the kinks before you let the AI handle the real deal.
Exactly. The paper suggests this could be a game changer, especially when you're talking about a network this big, this complex. It's a way to train AI much faster than we could in the real world.
It's like a giant sandbox for AI.
Right.
I love it. But even though it's a simulation, it still makes me think, what if something goes wrong? Like, what if the AI goes rogue, even in the digital world?
I get it. It's still early days for AI. We're still learning. Caution is definitely a good thing.
And besides, how do you even understand what the AI is doing? Like, if it makes a decision, how do we know why it made that decision?
That's a great point, and it leads to another challenge the researchers bring up: explainable AI.
Explainable AI. So no more AI black boxes.
Exactly. It's not enough for these systems to just be effective. They have to be transparent, especially with something like a Sagsin, which is so interconnected.
Right, everything affects everything else.
Exactly. We need to be able to understand the AI's reasoning. It's about building trust.
It makes sense. If there's a network problem, you need to be able to trace it back, figure out what happened. You can't just throw your hands up and say, oh, well, the AI did it.
Right. And that's especially important when you think about the potential consequences. We're talking about networks that could be managing everything from traffic flow to power grids.
Okay, so for someone like me, someone who just wants their internet to be fast and reliable, why should I care about any of this? Why should I care about AI task orchestration?
It's a good question. It might seem like this is all very technical, very behind-the-scenes stuff.
Right.
But the impact, the potential impact of this technology, it goes way beyond just faster internet speeds.
Okay, now you've got my attention. Give me the exciting future stuff. What are we talking about?
Imagine there's a natural disaster, a hurricane, an earthquake, something that requires a really coordinated response.
Huh?
And because of Sagsins, because of this AI-powered network, we can react so much faster.
Drones assessing damage, delivering supplies.
Exactly. Autonomous vehicles, robots, all coordinated in real time by this AI.
Across land, sea, even space.
Exactly. Decisions are being made in milliseconds, potentially saving lives, getting aid to the people who need it most.
Wow. I mean, suddenly, faster internet doesn't seem so important if it also means we can respond to emergencies like that.
And that's just one example. Think about healthcare, telemedicine. Imagine a surgeon performing a complicated surgery remotely on a patient who's miles away.
Relying on this network.
With the AI making sure everything is precise, everything is safe.
That's incredible.
Or smart cities. Imagine cities that can manage traffic in real time, reducing congestion, pollution.
That's amazing. But it's also a lot to think about.
It is, and it's important to remember this is still early. There's a lot more research and development to be done.
Right, and on that note, we've talked about the technical challenges, the need for explainability, but what about the impact on jobs, on the economy? Every time we talk about AI, that question comes up. What happens when the machines can do more and more of the work?
It's a crucial question, and it's one the researchers bring up as well. When you have AI managing tasks across entire networks, it makes you wonder, where do humans fit in?
Exactly.
And that's a conversation we definitely need to have.
So we left off talking about digital twins, and I gotta say, the more I hear about this stuff, the more I feel like I'm living in the future. It's wild.
I know, right? But these digital twins, they're not just some sci-fi fantasy. They're a real tool that researchers are using
to train the AI.
Exactly. And in the paper, they highlight how valuable these simulations can be, especially when you're dealing with a system as massive and complex as a 6G network.
So it's like giving the AI a safe space to practice, to learn, without the risk of messing something up in the real world.
Precisely. And that's crucial because in a real 6G network, the stakes could be incredibly high. We're talking about managing things like critical infrastructure, communication networks, even healthcare systems.
Okay, that makes sense. You don't want the AI learning on the job when people's lives might be on the line.
Exactly. But even with these digital twins, even with all the precautions, there's still that little voice in the back of my head that's like, but what if?
Oh, tell me about it. Like, what if, even in this perfectly controlled digital world, something unexpected happens and the AI does something?
Right. It's like, how do we even begin to understand the AI's decision-making process? How do we know it's making the right choices?
Especially if things start going wrong. We can't just hit the reset button on the real world.
You're hitting on a really important point. And it's something the researchers emphasize in the paper, the need for explainable AI.
Explainable AI. So, like, the AI has to show its work. No more AI black boxes making decisions we don't understand.
Precisely. Transparency is key. We need to be able to look under the hood, so to speak, and understand the why behind the AI's actions, especially when those actions have real-world consequences.
Because if we don't understand how the AI is making decisions, how can we trust it to make the right ones?
Exactly. It's not just about the AI being effective, it's about it being trustworthy, reliable, and accountable for its actions.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of really fascinating but also really complex stuff. For someone like me, who's not an AI expert, what's the key takeaway here? Why should I care about all of this?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. AI task orchestration has the potential to touch every aspect of our lives. We're not just talking about faster internet speeds, we're talking about a fundamental shift in how we interact with technology and with the world around us.
Okay, now you're really piquing my curiosity. Give me some concrete examples. How is this going to play out in the real world?
Well, imagine a world where your car can talk to other cars on the road, to traffic lights, even to your house, all coordinated by AI to ensure you get where you need to be safely and efficiently.
Okay, so no more traffic jams.
Sure.
Sign me up.
Exactly. Or think about healthcare. Imagine a world where AI can help doctors diagnose diseases earlier, develop personalized treatment plans, and even perform surgeries remotely with incredible precision, all thanks to the super fast, ultra-reliable 6G network.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like something out of a movie. But it also makes you wonder, if AI can do all of that, what happens to the doctors, the nurses, the people who do those jobs now?
It's a valid concern, and it's something the paper touches upon as well. When we talk about AI managing tasks across entire networks, we have to consider the potential impact on the job market and the economy as a whole. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but it's a conversation we need to be having right now as these technologies continue to advance.
Absolutely, and it's a conversation I'm really glad we're having here today.
Me too.
But before we dive headfirst into that economic rabbit hole, I think we need to take a quick break. We'll be right back to explore the potential implications of AI task orchestration on jobs and the workforce. So we're back, and I think it's time to address the elephant in the room, the question that always comes up when we talk about AI and automation. What happens to jobs?
Yeah, it's the big one, isn't it? And with AI task orchestration, we're not just talking about automating a few specific tasks. We're talking about AI potentially managing entire systems, entire networks.
Right, it's a whole other level.
It really is. And the paper acknowledges that, yeah, there will likely be significant shifts in the job market as this technology matures.
So what are we looking at? Are robots coming for all of our jobs? Is that what the paper predicts?
Well, it's not quite that dramatic, but it does point out that certain types of jobs, particularly those that are very repetitive or rule-based, those might be more susceptible to automation.
Okay, so like factory work, data entry, that kind of thing.
Exactly. But, and this is important to remember, historically, whenever we've seen major technological advancements, they haven't just eliminated jobs, they've also created new ones.
Okay, so what kind of new jobs are we talking about? If AI is managing everything, what's left for humans to do?
Well, for one thing, someone has to design, build, and maintain these AI systems. So we're going to need a lot more AI specialists, data scientists, software engineers, people who can keep this whole thing running smoothly.
So coding is still a safe bet for the future.
I'd say so, yeah. But it's not just about the purely technical skills. We're also going to need people who can bridge the gap between AI and human beings.
Okay, now that's interesting. What does that even mean, to be a bridge between AI and humans?
Well, think about it. Someone needs to train these AI systems, teach them how to learn, how to adapt to new situations. We need AI ethicists, people who can make sure these systems are developed responsibly, ethically.
So we need people who understand not just the technology, but also the human side of the equation.
Exactly. It's about having that broader perspective, being able to anticipate potential problems and come up with creative solutions.
It's almost like instead of being afraid of AI taking over, we need to figure out how to work with it.
I think that's exactly right. It's about collaboration, not just between machines, but between humans and machines.
This has been an incredible deep dive. And I have to say, even with all the potential challenges, I'm feeling cautiously optimistic about the future.
Me too. I think AI task orchestration really does have the potential to revolutionize how we live, how we work, how we solve problems, but we have to be smart about it.
We have to approach it with open minds, a willingness to adapt, and of course, a healthy dose of caution.
Absolutely. It's an exciting time to be alive.
It really is. So to all our listeners out there, as we enter this new era of hyperconnectivity and intelligent systems, let's embrace the possibilities, stay informed, and work together to shape a future that benefits everyone. This has been The Deep Dive, signing off.